Good morning, all. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 5th of August. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to shoot trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, let's have a look at ES. Now, ES, we've got a whole load of negative divergence, which is forming here. We've got a possible weak 6-minute sell signal brewing on ES. We've got a weak 6-minute sell signal which is fixed on NQ. If we see a retest of this high, that'll get a full sell signal brewing. On RTY, we've got a weak 60-minute sell signal fixed, and if we see a retest of this high, then we'll get a full 60-minute sell signal brewing. On YM, we've already got a full 60-minute sell signal brewing. On DAX, we got a 60-minute sell signal fix. On ESTX, we got a weak 60-minute sell signal fix. And Nikkei, we got a weak 60-minute sell signal fix. This is a lot of negative divergence. And if we see a couple of retests, growing negative divergence. Going over to, in terms of the patterns, ESTX obviously failed into a retest of the high. NQ is still on a diamond top with it's broken down with the target in the 26,731 area. Hey, Doug. And on IHS has broken up with the target in the 30,225 area and hasn't made that target yet. It might not, but we're close enough that I'm kind of expecting it to. RTY basically is failing up into a retest of the high. We haven't seen that high retest yet. YM failed up into a retest of the high. Got to say, it went quite a bit further. This no longer looks like a potential level top. DAX still does look like a potential level top. ASTX the same, but again, as they go higher, that's deteriorating somewhat. Nikkei has broken up over declining resistance, but we're still some way away from invalidating this head and shoulders. We would need to get over about the 67,700 area. It's within striking distance, but it's not close. All right, just going through the negative divergence again. It's just arrived. A weak 60-minute sell signal is brewing on ES. Weak 6-minute sell signal is brewing on NQ, and if we retest this higher, full size one will be brewing. RTY, we got a weak 6-minute sell signal fixed, and if we retest this high, we'll have a full size one brewing. We've already got a full 60-minute sell signal brewing on YM. We've got a full size one fixed on DAX, weak sell signal fixed on ESTX, and a weak sell signal fixed on Nikkei. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Okay, notable yesterday, as ES just kept going, was it actually broke the 3SD upper band and closed above it. This is, well, it's strange. So we will see how that goes. Actually, have I got these marked in here? Hang on 1 second. I've got these marked in I think daily middle band, daily 3SD upper band was 77.98 yesterday. Actually, no, it closed below it. Sorry, I was looking at the long trend line there. But on SPX, we actually touched it pretty much exactly at the high. The 3SD upper band was at 77.58.99, and the high yesterday was at 77.58.21. That was impressive. In terms of where the ES 3SD upper band closed yesterday, that closed at 77.98, and we're currently at 78.83. So we're over it or touching it. These are extreme highs in terms of the daily middle bands. The bands have barely had time to turn up at all yet. They are expanding a bit, but I'm really thinking we need some consolidation here. We will see whether we get it. No current divergence on the daily charts or the hourly charts because we haven't seen a retracement to set up that divergence. We could, of course, do that today. In terms of the 15-minute, we have seen that retracement. We've got a weak sell signal fixed on the RSI 5, but it's mainly the RSI 14 I would be watching, and we haven't got anything there. Qs, we've got a break over the daily middle band yesterday, a break over the 50 MA, and it could be that we're returning back to the highs, but obviously we still have a diamond top, which is broken down with the target in the 642 area. But obviously, if we do see a break up here, I'd be looking for a retest this high here in 747.88 area. No divergence on the hourly chart, no divergence on the 15-minute chart, both of them pretty much at those blue levels. On DAX, on DIA, we have a break up and a new high. I'm going to come back to and talk about possible higher targets. I haven't finished crunching those yet. I've got more charts to do today, but I've got some preliminary thoughts. Hourly chart, no divergence, 15-minute week RSI 14 sell signal fixed. All right, let's have a look at Ethereum. Sorry, on IWM rather. IWM, we've got a breakup which looks as though it's going to retest this all-time high. I've got that 302.92, 72, and the high yesterday was at 302.39, so it came very, very, very close to making it. Hourly chart, no divergence. 15-minute chart, a bit of divergence. DAX has obviously already retested the high, no divergence, and Nikkei is still well below the daily middle band. And this head and shoulders isn't showing any signs of failing at the moment. And I'm thinking, even if we go significantly higher on US equities, this may not fail. SO, let's just go back to that for a minute. SO equally is, we saw a break above the daily middle band yesterday, but this is again not close to failing the head and shoulders. I've drawn the line there. I've got that in the 132.50 area, and we are a long way away from that failing at the moment. And to be honest, if Qs went back and retested the high, we might well still be significantly short of this failing. So watching this with interest. Not convinced either of these is going to fail, and they may actually just be rallying before they play out later. All right, let's have a look and see in terms of targets if we go higher. And really, I would be expecting to see some consolidation before that happened from a high that we are not far away from. We don't tend to see an awful lot of significant moves above the 3ST upper band on SPX, and hits, full hits are rare. And pretty much we saw that yesterday. In terms of targets here, now I have to say I'm going to be looking at alternatives here because the weakness of this trend line here is that we haven't gone and tested the corresponding support trend line in the meantime. Now that's not a fatal weakness, but it increases the chances that we can see it break out. I've got currently that trend line up here in about the 78.20 area. On the Qs, really, I'd be looking at this chart here. But at the moment, I'm only looking for a retest of the high. There's no particular reason to think that we would be going for a trend line higher. In terms of Dia, we're getting pretty close. I've got it drawn two ways here. One on this weekly chart where we're very close, and an alternative one here where we've got the resistance from the March low and from the April low last year converging at about the 546 area. Again, that is not much higher. We haven't tested the support trend line again on the bigger one, and that is a weakness for it. Actually, no, it isn't, because this would be the low. So that actually isn't a bad trend line. So I'll be watching that when we get there. I'll have this written up in a more coherent form tomorrow morning. But that's actually a pretty nice looking resistance trend line, and we are close to it. In terms of IWM, if we are going to see a decent move up here, which we could, then I've got that resistance. Relatively quite a lot higher if you're looking at it in terms of the Dia chart, where I've got that currently at about the 310 area, which again was within reach, but is this one we haven't seen a touch of the corresponding support trend line, so we shall see. Anyway, I'll be writing that up and doing a post tomorrow, but that's preliminary thoughts on that. All right, let's have a look at the currencies. So let's have a look at DX. DX is not rallying much, and actually, for all I was seeing, oh well, the intervention on the yen is pointless and it's just going back up. It's not actually going back up that much at the moment. In fact, the 60-minute buy signal fixed at the low hasn't even made target yet. So this is actually a limited retrace, and I was talking on the bigger picture webinar today about how I'm thinking we could see a big reversal back down in the yen, in the USD/JPY, which would be a strengthening of the yen over the next few months as we see a move away from the carry trade, and as we see a move of the Japanese to pull out of US Treasuries and invest in their own because their interest rates are now above zero. And significantly above, and so it's not really worth holding treasuries instead for the currency risk, especially if the yen starts strengthening. We shall see how that goes. Not really seeing an awful lot on the others. Australian dollar, we got a 60-minute sell signal fixed, but I am wondering if basically we're seeing the rally fail from the US dollar here. I have a lovely bull flag suggesting higher. I am wondering, that's competing against the actions of the federal government there, and I'm wondering whether that setup is strong enough to withstand that. Any setup can fail, and I've been watching for a possible fail here on Australia on US dollar. I was thinking that would probably, the big area I was looking for that on would be 104 to 106, but it could be that we're seeing a fail that starts earlier. All right, ZB, I'm not seeing an awful lot to suggest a big rally on bonds here. So we've seen a bit of one. We've broken short-term declining resistance, and we've got a weak 60-minute sell signal fixed. ZN, we've got a double bottom is broken up with a target in the 109.28 area. I'm skeptical about that making target, and we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed. Right, looking at oil. Oil, we've got a weak 60-minute buy signal fixed, and CL, we've got a weak 60-minute buy signal fixed, and HO, we've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed, and RBOB, we've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. We've got little level bottoms which are broken up on HO and RBOB. Where are we on a deal? Well, I think the problem is there is no ceasefire. Iran was attacking attacking ships last night. The Houthis have struck a vessel and sunk it in the Bab el-Mandab Strait and appear to have attacked both UAE and Saudi overnight, although UAE is denying that was an attack. I think the Saudis might be denying it was an attack too. But at the moment, there is no ceasefire, and the Iranians have made it clear that there is no ceasefire. And they're now showing their irritation by Trump basically adopting their talks with the Houthis by saying that the Strait of Hormuz agreement with Oman is hereby postponed over US interference and Trump's threats, saying Iran will not conclude any agreement under the shadow of threats. And Iran says Trump is trying to claim agreement and credit for an agreement which is purely with Oman. And the Strait of Hormuz, in any case, will not open if the United States continues its violations, with reopening contingent upon change in US behavior and the correction of its violations. In terms of the correction of its violations, they did actually specify that. And they specified, I'm not quite sure what one that's on, but basically they said that they wanted the US blockade to end. They want all sanctions lifted on Iran. Obviously, that would involve giving them all their frozen money back, which is about $120 billion. I mean, that is their money, however. And also, they want a written agreement from the US that Iran has the right to charge traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, and they've made it entirely clear that that is what they will be doing. So we'll see how that goes. That doesn't mean there won't be an agreement, but at the moment, they're giving some conditions for that agreement, which would be hard for the US to swallow. So we will see how that goes. I would say we've got some nice looking patterns on the RTH charts on oil, and this is actually, I don't have as nice patterns on the Brent chart. This one's pretty nice on, oh no, this is on the Brent chart. So that's actually a very nice one. I've got a corresponding one on the coil chart, which I'll show you. Sorry, on the Brent spot chart, which I'll show you in a minute. But that is a pretty nice looking flag, and that hasn't broken up yet, obviously, but I'm wondering whether it might. And there's not really much reason for oil to be going down here. On CL, I didn't have a corresponding trend line here. I don't think. No, I didn't. So we shall see. But on the bigger picture, on the RTH charts, I do have some nice patterns there. And just looking at those, that would be the falling wedge, which is underthrowing on WTIC, and this would be the falling wedge that is underthrowing on oil, and they're both nice looking, falling wedges, and they're both nice looking falling wedges, and I am taking both of those seriously. We shall see how they develop. All right, great. Let's have a look at NG, where we've retested the low as expected, and this is a potential level bottom setup which I'm watching. Don't have a strong lead towards that playing out, but obviously it is an opportunity for it to play out. GC, we've actually seen quite a strong move here, and this is up to what would have been the double bottom resistance in the event that we'd actually gone back and retested this low properly. As it is, this could still be a bear flag forming, but I am wondering if we're going to see some upside. We've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. We had one fixed on silver overnight, and last night, and that failed overnight. We'd have possible more divergence here. So but I'm wondering if this might actually take off early. If so, we've got a nice looking double bottom here on silver, which is entirely valid, and a sustained break up over 63.75 would be looking for a target, which would be in about the 72 area. That would be nice to see, and we've got a possible IHS neckline in about the 72 area. All right, looking at palladium, we drew this as a possible larger flag. Platinum did the same. HG, it's pretty close on the spot chart to a retest of this high here. Let's have a look at the other commodities. KC, we've got what looks like a bullish consolidation and likely is. SB seems to be resolving towards a retest of this high here in the 15.4 area, 15.39, I think. CC, we had a setup where this could either be a head and shoulders or a flag breaking up, and it's resolved into the flag breaking up. This could form, of course, an ABC larger flag, and we've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing, but I'm liking the downside here. In terms of lumber, we've seen a very satisfying move down, and actually we're only about 30-40 handles above the main flag support for the bear flag that's been forming for the last 3 years. Too early to say whether this is actually going to finally break down from that setup, but I'm wondering about it. Bigger picture, as I've been saying all along, is bearish. CT, pretty close to a retest this high, but less so on the spot chart. ZW, possible bull flag forming. Corn, possible bull flag forming. Soy, possible bull flag forming. Bit big for a flag on the ZL chart, but this could be an overall bullish consolidation. Live cattle, still wondering about a test of the double bottom target in the 231.6 area. And HE, we've got an IHS which broke up and failed, and that's got a target at a retest of this low here. Watching the monthly pivot as possible resistance. All right, let's have a quick look at questions. And well, my pleasure as always, mate. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. All right, cheers.